call to order. Today is Tuesday, April 5th. The Rules, Confirmation, and Public Elections Committee. If there's not any objections from committee members, we'll begin with elections and confirmations first, and then go through our agenda items. Is there any objection? Okay, seeing none. We'll begin with the Metro Arts Commission appointment of Mr. Paul Policarpou.
Full marks.
For a term expiring April 2nd, 2026. Is that you?
That's me,
Okay. Has anything changed on your questionnaire since you submitted it?
No, nothing's changed.
Okay. Is there any questions from committee members?
I guess if you wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about your interest in the board.
My interest in the board is my interest in arts. You know, I ran the Nashville Arts magazine for 11 years here in town. It's a free magazine reporting on the arts. Worked with the Arts Commission every day practically on public art and art issues around town, and just a huge interest in the arts. And would love to serve on the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from committee members? Any need for any other additional background? Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Paul, how you pronounce your last name?
Policarpou.
Policarpou.
Who? Yeah.
Who?
Emphasis on the poo.
Policarpou. Okay. Thank you so much for your service, offering yourself up to serve this great city. Also, we have next is the Metropolitan Clerk appointment of Mr. Austin Kyle. I don't know why I invert your name like that. Mr. Kyle, okay. Has anything changed since the information that you provided as it related to your resume, credentials, or anything as it relates to this position?
No, everything is up to date.
Okay, and if you could just speak briefly to the committee as it relates to this position that you've been recommended for appointment for.
Sure. I've been with Metro. This is my 10th year now, and the majority of that time has been spent working in the Metro Clerk's office. I've also got some experience working in the council office to kind of round out my experience here on the second floor. And so I've had the great pleasure of working under 3 different Metro clerks. So I've just I've got the experience and the tools necessary to do the job successfully, I believe.
And the willingness.
Yes,
Most
absolutely.
importantly.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions for committee members? Yeah. Councilwoman Evans.
Thank you. I have a question. So I know that kind of your office, it's a very regular schedule, which can also lead to some kind of higher stress activity, especially, hitting deadlines and everything like that, especially, at times when our schedules are adjusted for different reasons. But your office has to consistently hit all those timelines. So do you have a vision of how you might make that environment better for, the team that you have working with you to help, keep people employed in the clerk's office for a longer period?
Sure. I do have an open position currently that we're going to be filling very soon. And then once I'm fully staffed, I believe we can kind of spread the work around a little bit and cross-train so people don't get, burned out on doing the same task. We can kind of rotate tasks and get people in the right spot.
Is there anyone here, I don't know if that's Ms. Darby or Mr. Jameson, can you speak to the committee about the process for this appointment, just for the viewing audience?
Sure.
How it was published, if it was published, the number of candidates, that candidate pool, what that was?
HR did post a national posting and received a large number of applications. That was narrowed down through the HR department. 3 finalists emerged. There was a review committee that consisted of representatives from the Metro Council office, Ms. Darby, the mayor's office, and HR. I don't want to say this was easy, but Mr. Kyle was the unanimous selection as the #1 candidate by that committee. I will disclose, I refrained from appearing on that committee because I have known Austin for many years, lured him to the council office when I could. I will note he's been with the clerk's office the majority of his time here, as he noted. His familiarity with software is phenomenal, the best I've seen. He inherited an office that was, I think fair to say, in a bit of a crisis state at the time. You've not heard a whisper of any problem in the clerk's office since then. And what I've seen for the first time in my life at Metro, we've received 2 letters of recommendation, one from current employees and one from former employees of the clerk's office. Our own Marlene Fuller is here, not at anybody's request, but just out of her own personal fondness for Mr. Kyle, and we would heartily endorse this committee's endorsement.
Okay, so I would be, there's some concern about the minimum requirements for this position, Mr. Davidson. As a government, how do we handle that?
So there are
And how did the selection committee, so to speak, how did they handle that?
Right, so there are 3 bodies that make recommendations for various Metro positions. One is state law has various requirements for clerk's offices. Mr. Kyle fulfills all of those requirements as well. The Metro Charter also specifies requirements for the clerk's position. Mr. Kyle fulfills all of those. The Civil Service Commission also includes provisions for a bachelor's degree. Mr. Kyle is in the process of obtaining that. There's no requirement, there's no preclusion that he not be allowed to accept the position as long as he's in the process, and he is in that process. From an operational perspective, having technically been his employer for a good period of time, he is simply phenomenal. I'm not saying that lightly or with any hyperbole. I've never seen, from a practical perspective, someone with his work ethic. My only criticism is he doesn't tout his own credentials. He's a little shy, but that's an admirable quality, and we do not hesitate. And again, the selection committee, maybe Ms. Darby can comment on it since she actually served on it. He was their only one and unanimous recommendation for first recommendation.
Okay, any other questions? We get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kyle. Okay, we're moving on to the Special Solid Waste and Recycling Commission appointment of Ms. Rebecca Caldwell.
She is en route.
Okay. What about Ms. Grace Strange? Hi, Grace. And that's all you have for solid waste, looks like?
Yeah, so
Okay.
just the 2, and I think Becky might be able to make it before the end of the meeting.
Okay. So Ms. Strange, am I pronouncing it correctly? Thank you for joining us today. Has anything changed on your questionnaire since you submitted it? Okay. Any questions from committee members?
What are you thinking? I mean, why are you so what are you thinking about this commission, that is?
I'm excited about it. I think that, Tennessee has a real asset in our rivers, and it's something I'm really passionate about. And I think that the Solid Waste and Recycling Commission has a huge impact on whether our rivers are impaired or not. So I'm excited to be able to be proactive in helping select the methods or help suggest maybe new options or creative methods that we can use to kind of make sure that our rivers are not impaired or help clean them up, as well as benefit all of us as well.
Not only is Ms. Strange a Bellevue native, which is incredibly important, but she was instrumental in our fight against the attempt to put a dump in Bellevue very recently. I'm very thankful for that.
I'd move approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Ms. Strange, thank you so much for offering yourself up to this great city that we serve. We're moving on to Metro Work Release Commission reappointment of Mr. Joseph DeMartini for a term expiring January 1st, 2026. Hello, thank you for joining us today. Has anything changed on your questionnaire since you submitted it? No. Okay, any questions from committee members? Dave? This is your question.
Yes. Anything that you've gleaned from your time on the commission and want to bring to your next term?
Just be diligent, pay attention to what's going on, and it works out great. I pay attention to what the folks at the sheriff's office says. They know what they're doing.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. DeMartini. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
DeMartini.
DeMartini. Okay. Oh man, I'm 0 for 2 today. DeMartini, thank you for offering yourself up to continue to serve this city. We're going to move on to the next reappointment. That's Metro Work Release Commission reappointment of Ms. Sheila Stratman Hodge for a term expiring January 1, 2026. Ms. Stratman Hodge?
Yes.
Oh, hello.
I,
Has anything changed since you submitted your questionnaire?
no.
Okay, thank you.
Same question. What have you gleaned and want to bring to the next term?
Well, I just have a desire to give people the opportunity to reestablish themselves in the community through the work release program if they've acted responsibly. And as he said, we just kind of go by a lot of what they say, and we use our discretion and just try to see if it's the best fit for them. And it's worked out very well, and I do enjoy it.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you.
I'd move approval. No, oh, you not, so,
No,
sorry.
So last time, when I got to run our committee from the floor, we deferred you because you no longer live in Davidson County, is that correct?
Right, that's
And
correct.
so would the administration like to address the fact that commission members are, I've been on here a few years and we always ask that. It was my impression that all board and commission members had to live and reside in Davidson County.
With the exception of those that are state created, I think Ms. Darby may have done the specific legal research, but with that exception, because that, as long as you fulfill the state level requirements, you are qualified, and she does meet those qualifications.
Is it a situation where y'all could not find anyone willing to serve in Davidson County?
So these are technically the recommendations of the sheriff's office, and Sheriff Hall was extremely pleased with her previous service and requested her reappointment, and we're happy to convey that as well.
I guess my concern is that I think over the years we've had a lot of conversations about constituents who want to serve. We hear from the administration a lot of times that they have a hard time filling positions. I think that we have all acknowledged there is a large gap in the way Metro recruits boards and commission members, and how to find people. And so I guess I would like to maybe hear more from the sheriff about whether there were people in Davidson County willing to serve or not. And because we do hear from constituents so often that they want to serve and don't know how. And so this is nothing about her ability to serve, and thank you for your service. But I think when this committee, over the years, has had that conversation come up, always lingering in the background about constituents wanting to serve in different ways, I guess I'm a little concerned that I would like to know more of the effort to find a Davidson County resident before I'm ready to support an out-of-county resident.
I just recently moved out of the county, and I had been in Davidson County for, probably 35 years or more. Probably, it's coming up on 45 years, because I'm kind of looking at my class reunion.
It's a good way to mark it by.
Yeah, and I just didn't realize that, and that my appointment was coming up for re-election, so.
Are you interested in moving back to the county over the next 4 years during the term?
Oh, I'm a senior now, so I'm put, okay? I'm permanently placed. No, I don't have the desire to just uproot and move again, you know. But I still have, a lot of love for Davidson County.
Well, I'm at the will of the committee. I just, it's a 4-year term, and maybe there has been some more correspondence that I missed, but I guess I would just like to hear from the administration that doesn't have it, from the sheriff about any efforts for a Davidson County resident. But, I mean, do y'all have other, yeah.
I'd like to ask for some clarification as to what we just heard from the administration in terms of a position that is state-created can be from outside the county. Does that mean that all other positions are required to be in the county?
So boards and commissions that are inherently metro-created are subject to the metro requirements of residency. Those boards that are purely state-created, we just adhere to the state requirements, and there's no county residency requirement for the Work Release Commission.
And do we have other people in positions, boards and commissions that live outside of Davidson County?
Not for metro-created, but for state-created, there could be. I would have to check. I don't know what those are, but.
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and move approval again, and if you want to vote against it, you can, but I feel like Sheriff Hall does an amazing job, and his confidence in you and your experience speak volumes to me anyway, and the fact that there is no rule against that because it's state created, I'll move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any further discussion? Seeing none.
I think Sharon.
Councilwoman Hurt.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I certainly appreciate it, but I can stand here very strongly in support of Ms. Hodge and all of the work that she has done. She's been a worker from the time she attended Fisk University, because I was able to see the work she was doing in her roles at that university, and then to leave that and to continue to stay and support and serve. And not only that, but she made sure that her children did the exact same thing. And as you know, her son is now the chair of our IDB board. So this is a generational thing here that I think that we need to embrace and make sure that we continue to support this type of appointment, especially with it being a state. And I just personally would encourage you to support her, because I don't think you can go wrong by having her on your team for any commission that she may be appointed to.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Hurt. And just for a matter of record, Ms. Hodge, when we began the Rules Committee, we asked, has any information changed since you submitted your questionnaire? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to correct that, because what's submitted is
No, that what I submitted is correct.
So you are in Council District 6?
No, I'm saying what I submitted showed that I was in another county.
So the questionnaire before us, while it does show that your address is Mount Juliet, it does also say that you are in Council District 6.
Is that automatically
Well,
generated?
I believe it's a required field, so something has to be put there.
Okay.
Again, I don't question your qualifications for this whatsoever, and appreciate the willingness to serve. I think that, seeing as we deferred this due to a residency question, I think I would have at least appreciated some more information from the administration or from the sheriff regarding this matter and the efforts, and some sort of justification, because I am concerned that it is a slippery slope when we do have some metro commissions and boards that the administration has said that it's hard to find someone. And so who's to say that because state boards don't have a county residency, that the administration, this one or in the future, doesn't come to us and say, we have trouble filling. I think quite often it's the adult entertainment board that they say they have a hard time filling. Who's to say that that's not going to come before us in this set of precedent, that we start changing our metro boards to not require residency? So I would have liked to be able to have that conversation, have that information, but if the administration and the sheriff are not able to provide that, then we do have to go off of what we have.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I just for the record and for the committee members, is that we're voting on the most accurate information as of today.
Right.
So just for a matter of record, You are not in Council District 6, and you're not residing in Davidson County.
What council is 6? I probably couldn't put anything else down, so I probably put the district for my employment.
I think Mr.
Where
Khan
my
clarified.
business is.
Yeah,
Where my business
it's
is.
required, you have to submit it, you have to put something in there.
It sounded to me like it's an effort on part of the applicant to
Right.
be misleading you.
So we need to update that questionnaire for non-Davidson
Can
County
we have
residents.
an option, if that is required, can we have an option of Council District 0 for situations such as this, to make her, to where she's not in a situation where she's being,
Yeah.
forced to lie, so to speak, and I'm gonna renew my motion to approve.
Can I be done?
Yes, we can get
Okay.
that updated.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much, Ms. Hodge, for being patient while we sorted it out, okay? And thank you for continuing to offer yourself up to serve this great city. Okay, we're moving back to, Ms. Rebecca Caldwell.
You're still en route.
Okay.
It's not traffic, but if you want her to come in up next time, I can.
No, we're gonna go through our agenda items and we'll circle back. Okay, so we're on resolutions now. This is RS 2022-1466, sponsor Virtue. This is a resolution providing for the censure of Councilmember Jonathan Hall. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
For the viewing audience, can we explain the mandatory nature of this and why it is being brought about?
Ms. Darby?
Certainly. The Board of Ethical Conduct met and determined that there had been violations, and part of their recommendation was to submit it to the council for censure. Section 2.222.050 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws requires that upon receipt of a recommendation from the board that an elected official or member of a board or commission be censured by the council, the chairman of the Rules, Confirmation, Public Elections Committee shall file a resolution with the Metropolitan Clerk providing for censure of the member.
Okay. Any discussion?
Just to be clear,
Councilman Pulley.
thank you very much, Madam Chair. What is this body as a committee going to be ruling on, whether or not we support the censure, or whether it's properly before us, or what specifically is our job today?
The job of the committee is to review it and make a recommendation to the council.
Based on the substance of the resolution?
I would say based on the substance of the resolution, like you do on any other resolution that comes before.
Thanks for the clarification.
I realize is that below your line of sight. Sorry, we had a little moment over
I'm sorry.
here. Do we have a report from the Ethics Commission or anything before us other than the resolution? A report on their findings or any?
There was a report issued or an order issued. The resolution follows that report and lays out all of the findings and the actions of the board. But the board's report was not filed as an attachment to the resolution.
And Councilman Hall was notified he could come and speak, I assume, here today. It was his choice to not be here.
I believe he's aware of the resolution.
As chair, I wouldn't notify him. No more discussion?
Yeah, I'll add something. So I think that the resolution, what's reflected in the resolution, really, the information that's provided is a reflection on our entire council body, and we need to be better at filing reports and taking this information seriously. I don't know about for anybody else on the council, but to me, these were serious red flags, and we need to be held accountable. We don't often hold each other accountable for our behavior, other than maybe making a speech in public. And this is a way to do that, to enforce that this is a serious issue. So I'm gonna vote in favor.
Okay. Councilman Rutherford.
Also for the viewing audience, since this is something that we don't usually face, could someone give a definition of censure and what it means to the member, what comes along with it?
Ms. Darby, I don't think you want my term.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
we'll let you answer it in that.
I would like yours,
I do,
please.
I do. I don't know today's terms.
In that legal.
Well, I don't have a Black's Law Dictionary definition of censure, but what it means practically for the board is a recognition that there was violation of the ethics code, and it is a recognition on the record that there is a violation of that, on the record of the council that there has been a violation by one of its members.
The definition is express severe disapproval of someone or something, especially in a formal statement. The noun is the expression of formal disapproval. I just want to say that it's very uncomfortable to be in this situation, but I do agree with Council Lady Evans in that individually our actions reflect on the body as a whole, and when we misbehave or act inappropriately or unethically, it reduces the effectiveness of this body as a whole, and certainly how the public views us. And so I'm not going to speak to whether he's guilty or not. I just want to say it's very uncomfortable to be in this situation where you have to have this against a member that I think we all like and respect. So it's unfortunate.
I would also ask the question of, in relation to censure and its definition, is there anything that comes along with it that impacts the council member? Do their duties change in any way? Is anything affected in terms of the role of the council member?
No, this would be a reflection on the record of that disapproval. There are, the code provides for additional actions to come along with the censure if desired, but they were not included in this resolution, and that would be removal from committees or referral to other authorities.
So none of that is included. This is just solely for the record.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Were we on the motion? I don't even remember now.
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution is recommended. Now we're on to RS 2022, excuse me, 1467, sponsor Rosenberg. A resolution condemning the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce's efforts to subvert democracy and eliminate the people's voice in determining who serves on the Metropolitan Nashville Board of Public Education. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Oh,
Are you gonna speak to it, or?
I'd be glad to.
She's just ready to get out of here.
I'm sorry, Councilman Rosenberg.
I'd be glad to. I think everybody, well, maybe, folks may be aware that an organization took legislation to the state to try to eliminate our democratically elected school board and replace it with one where the mayor would make the appointments with no confirmation process at all. He could then add and remove members at will. I'm not aware of any local support for doing that, whether we always agree with the school board or not. I think that most of us support the idea of democratically elected legislative bodies, both over Metro government and Metro Nashville public schools. So this basically states the council's support for a democratically elected school board and asks that they withdraw their efforts to have the state decimate our school board.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yes.
We all started to inhale. No, please go ahead.
Just very briefly, is there anybody from here from the chamber who can speak to this?
Seeing none.
We assume the chamber was aware.
Do we know where
I'm
the
sure
bill
they were aware.
is?
I'm sorry,
Do we know where the bill is?
Yes.
at the state?
Okay.
The legislation that they are hoping to amend is in the general subcommittee in the Senate, but could be
Okay, then.
revived, but is hopefully dead for the year.
Councilman Rosenberg, I apologize that I did not read the entire part of your resolutions. Does this include the direction for this resolution to be sent to our delegation or to the entire legislature, or none?
No, it's merely expressing our position and making a request of the chamber not to continue this effort this year or next year.
Any, I guess as we talked about with the censure, whether it came with other recommendations, are you prepared to make any recommendations of if they continue with this activity, of what we may take up this in the next couple months? Such
No,
as
I'm
like
not.
the budget hearings and Nashville budget process.
No, this is not coming with a stick. It's merely a statement of our.
I understand you're taking the
position.
Biden approach that we will respond, we will respond like to like.
I'm genuinely shocked, and as much as I have not seen eye to eye with the chamber on issues, especially surrounding education, this one really blew me away. And for a legislature that's known for its preemptive actions, this would go on their greatest hits. And it's disappointing to see a Nashville-based organization push that, but really I'm more concerned with the effort more than the person or group behind it.
Councilman Poole?
Yeah, I just want to say, with all due respect to the sponsor, I don't have the chamber here, and I don't have information from them on specifically what they've done, and I'm a little uncomfortable supporting a resolution that strongly worded when I really don't know all of the facts that are before me, as some of you may. So I'm going to be voting no for that reason.
Would it help if I read from their website what they were doing?
I'd help us get one of them here and let them speak
Well,
on their behalf.
I think just like Councilman Hall, this was publicly noticed. The chamber often is before us. They come frequently to our events, if they frequently invite us to events and communicate with us. And I would venture a guess that the public notice, they could have responded. And just like Councilman Hall is not here and we're in absence of the information, maybe they chose not to respond.
Maybe.
Did you
Or
reach out to
maybe
them?
they didn't know.
Did you reach out to them?
I did an hour before the meeting.
Councilwoman Johnston?
I'm wondering if this resolution would be brought forth if the content of the legislation that was pushed by the chamber was agreeable to the sponsor, so that it's not necessarily, because the resolution is saying that it was subverting democracy and the voice of the people, and so if that's the objection, versus the content, does that make sense? So like if you agreed with it, would you say this is wrong for the Nashville Chamber to go to the state legislature for whatever it is that they're wanting?
I'm against state preemption. In particular, I'm against the elimination of democracy, so I can't see a situation where I would be supportive of this.
Okay.
Councilwoman?
My question is whether if the administration would speak to whether the chamber consulted the mayor's office before going.
Did not. The mayor is a strong supporter of Dr. Battle, a strong supporter of an elected school board. We did not request this legislation.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mike, hot seat tonight. What is our lobbying and government affairs team doing on this legislation?
Ginger Hauser and Bill Phillips both felt fairly assured that it's dead for the year. There is a modicum of a chance it could be revived. That looks unlikely from the sponsor's comments, and so we're resting assured that's not going to come back or resurface at least the rest of this term.
But we have a position Nashville has a position against this legislation.
Correct, and all preemptive legislation.
But I think as Council Lady Lee will agree with me, until the legislature adjourns sine die, anything can happen. So I will be supporting this legislation.
Okay, any further discussion? It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I believe
I'm gonna abstain.
I
we
would
have
like to
one.
abstain as
Yep.
well.
Oops, okay. That's 6-4, one against, and one not voting.
I would like to abstain too.
Two not voting, so that's 5, 1, and 2. Okay, moving on to RS 2022-1468, sponsor Murphy, honors the life of Nashville community leader Ralph W. Mosley. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Moved and properly seconded. Councilwoman Murphy.
I actually was trying to do this, I believe the Celebration of Life was this last weekend, as I look at Mike, because he's on the listserv too. This is one of his neighbors. As y'all know, Mr. Mosley was amazing to our community. Most of us know his dedication and service to the MDHA board and Envision Casey and other Envision processes. And I think I missed the Celebration of Life, so I hope you all support this moving on through so I can get it to the family.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is recommended, Councilwoman Murphy. Moving on to RS 2022-1469, sponsors.
Motion.
What?
On the bill.
She ahead of me. Honest to life of Dr. Tommy Morton Young. You gotta love this committee. I love it, man. It's been moved and properly seconded. Councilwoman Lee.
I brought that forth. I believe Council Lady Hurt first brought it forth, and then I took it over because that was a big community leader. I can't speak specifically to it because I didn't originally bring it, but that was a dynamic leader in our community, and so proud to be able to step in and bring this forth.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is recommended. We're on to RS 2022-1470, sponsor Swara, Virtual Johnston, and others, recognizes the work of interpersonal violence advocates who provides crisis advocacy to support victims in Nashville, Davidson County. In the last Monday in April of each year is Interpersonal Violence Advocate Appreciation Day.
Motion.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Bill.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is recommended. On RS 2022-1471, sponsors Allen, Virtual Murphy, and others, proclaims lights out nights, urging residents and businesses to turn off their essential lights in spring and fall for birds in Nashville. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to say that Council Lady Allen will also be going around and turning the lights out as well.
All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is recommended. On RS 2022-1472, sponsors Hurt, Sledge, Murphy, and others, recognizes April 11th through the 17th as Black Maternal Health Week. Get a motion? It's moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is recommended. We're moving on to our late items. We do have a letter of approval. This is an ordinance approving a participation agreement. I want to be mindful that we're just voting on the emergency filing only as it relates to this late file ordinance.
Can someone explain why this was filed late? Ms. Darby, maybe?
Are we in Council Lady Toombs?
There's a letter of support, but
Yeah, she's basically saying the reason for the emergency late file request is so Metro can get the most improvement possible for the $400,000. Can you explain that a little bit more, Ms. Darby?
There's a participation agreement that was gonna do some improvement at the Metro Center Greenway. And they filed their mandatory referral, with planning, and it was, I guess they filed it on the 21st, and it was going to be coming, our filing deadline here was on the 25th, and they had not received that referral back. But in order to get the best prices for materials and to move forward with the project, we would be the beneficiary of the work that they're doing. So it was, they asked for it to be late filed and considered an emergency for that reason.
Okay, and committee members, we're just voting on the emergency filing only. Are there any objections to this late file? Okay, seeing none. But we got 7, Okay, we're moving on to the late amendment of Hauser. That's BL 2022-1166. I don't see we have a letter.
I don't know that we would be, are we ruling on this?
Just the emergency,
Or
just the
a late
emergency,
filing
just the emergency
nature of it?
filing.
I can tell you
If
what
we
that is.
accept that,
We just came up with budget committee, and Councilman Mendez was a little concerned about the lease not including all of the nonprofits that were on there, so he asked for a late filed amendment because Gloria didn't want to defer it. So that's the purpose of the late nature of it, is it was requested budget yesterday, and in order to move this forward, that's what you did.
I'm not sure if that's necessarily, an emergency of just not wanting to
Well, let
defer.
him explain it.
Mr. Davidson?
Metro Legal is indeed working on amendments to the lease and the ordinance. It could not be considered by the council until it goes through all of the signatures, including representatives from Bellevue, and finance and legal. That was an impossibility, so the current plan will be, I believe Council Lady Hauser will ask for your indulgence in allowing it to be approved as is tonight, with the assurance that she will move to suspend the rules on third to bring the amendment then. The time sensitivity is that there are functions planned for all of these nonprofits at this renovated center in August, and if they don't get started on the renovations now, that's threatened. So I believe that will be her request. So there's nothing technically before the Rules Committee tonight because the amendment is not ready for your review.
Okay, so we don't have to consider this, Mr. Jamison, that's what I'm hearing?
It's just a preview.
Okay. So we won't take any action on this late amendment?
Yep, there she is.
Okay. Councilwoman Hauser, we're not taking any action. Mr. Jamison expressed that you're gonna be filing another amendment, at a later point. So what we have here, we're not taking any action on.
We're okay?
Yeah.
All right, great. You told me I could go.
Thank you. Yeah. A lot changed, thank you. So moving back to, do we have Miss Rebecca Caldwell? Okay, thank you for making it.
We worked hard to get here.
Special Solid Waste and Recycling Commission appointment of Miss Rebecca Caldwell. Has anything changed on your questionnaire since you submitted it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I don't have Dave here to ask the other question.
Is there anything you've learned from your experience that you'd like to share with us? Is there a reason you want to continue working in solid waste?
This is a
Sounds
new
like
appointment.
it sounds, well, this sounds like a trashy job.
It's a trashy job. It's a trashy job, and I enjoy it. I've been doing it for more than 20 years, almost probably 25 years now. Didn't go to college or school to plan to be the garbage girl ever, but I decided I liked it, and I stayed, and I worked throughout Middle Tennessee all my career, so.
And I see that your place of business is Caldwell Environmental Solutions, and you do not expect any conflicts to come before the board. And if there were, you would be willing to step aside.
Sure, yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Great. I'm good. I don't know about y'all, but
Okay.
move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Caldwell, for offering yourself up to serve this great city. Do we have any other further business, committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned. You said what, John?